Hello men and women of science, this is Mr. Cochran here to talk about how to count, round, and calculate using significant figures. We're supporting the benchmark that says you're going to be able to count and perform calculations with Sig Figs, so let's get started. Why significant figures? Well, we do a lot of measuring in science, and significant figures are a way to show how accurately we've made our measurements. We must record our lab data to the correct number of Sig Figs. And when we do calculations, the measurements can limit how many Sig Figs we can express in our answers. So to begin with here, we need to learn how to count significant figures to be able to round to the correct number of significant figures that we're going to use. Well, I have a nifty little trick to help you learn how to count using significant figures, and it's the Atlantic-Pacific trick. On the Pacific side, the left side of a number, the P stands for the decimal is present. On the Atlantic side, the A stands for a decimal is absent. So when you look at a number, you'll know which side to start counting from. And we always start counting at the first non-zero number. So let's look at an example. How many significant figures are in 5,040? When you look at this number, you'll notice there's a comma, but there's no decimal. So this is a decimal absent number. And what we're going to do is start on the Atlantic side, the right side of the number, at the first non-zero. And so that's going to be the number 4. And then we count everything else. So you'll notice that we've counted 3 numbers here. So this value, 5,040, has 3 significant figures. So here's a number that's less than 1, 0.07900. And you'll notice obviously in this number we have a decimal present. Because the decimal is present, if you imagine this number as the United States, we'll start counting from over here on the Pacific side at the 7. Once you start counting, you count all the rest, even the zeros. So this number has 4 significant figures. So here's another number, 30,020. We don't see a decimal there, so we're going to start over on the Atlantic side. It's going to be over here, where the Atlantic would normally be, over here. So we'll start counting at the 2, and I count 4 Sig Figs there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's another number that's less than 1. You'll notice that there's a decimal present right there. And so we'll start counting on the Pacific side, this side of the number over here, at the first non-zero though. So these are all placeholder zeros, and this number has 2 significant figures. So when we write a number in scientific notation, all the numbers or all the figures are significant, and that's because there will always be a decimal present, or there will always be non-zero numbers raised to a power of 10. So if you look at this, we have decimal present. You would start counting over here on the Pacific side at the first non-zero. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this number has 4 significant figures. So sometimes we have to use scientific notation in order to show the correct number of significant figures. If I measured accurately to the nearest 10 whatever units I'm looking at here, the only way to show that if it's exactly 200 and I measured to the tens is to write it in scientific notation. So I'm going to write 2.0 times 10 to the second, and that has 2 significant figures and lets the reader know that we're accurate down to the tens place. So here's some practice for you. Go ahead and pause your video here in a second. When you're done, hit play, and then you'll be able to see the answers. But there's a good way to test yourself and see if you've learned anything from watching the beginning of this video. Good luck with this, and we'll talk to you in a sec. So here's the number of significant figures in each of these values. If you're getting any of these wrong, you might want to rewatch a portion of this video or ask your teacher for help. I hope you've learned something about counting significant figures, and our next video will deal with rounding to a certain number of significant figures, which is an important skill to have when we're doing calculations with Sig Figs. Good job on getting through this. If you have any questions, be sure to ask your teacher again, and it's Mr. Cochran signing off.